American Songwriter, we had the opportunity to talk to Racquel Jones over Zoom audio. Racquel is a singer-songwriter, lyricist, rapper out of Jamaica who was actually discovered by Thievery Corporation while they were vacationing in Jamaica. She was recording in a studio, and the studio is located on this beautiful property, this beautiful resort. One of the members of Thievery Corporation was staying on the property, heard her singing, and offered her a gig with the band. She also talks about her new song and music video, Sacrilege. Make sure to check out our past episodes and all the videos on our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Bringing It Backwards, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bringing Back Pod.
We'd appreciate your support if you follow and subscribe to our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're Bringing It Backwards with Racquel Jones. Thank you so much for doing this.
No problem, man. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So our podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now.
Okay, cool.
Cool. And I love the video that you put out, your new song, and just everything you're doing is
Give
awesome.
thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So talk to me about, are you from Jamaica originally?
Yeah. Born and raised.
Born and raised there, huh?
Mm-hmm. So I was born in the east coast of Jamaica called Portland. Grew up in Portland with my family, and then went to Kingston for college, and then I lived in Kingston after that.
Wow, that's cool. Are you still in Kingston then?
No, I'm actually in LA right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yes, I grew up in Portland, so it's like basically the country lush side of Jamaica. It's like Jamaica's best hidden secret. Not so hidden anymore because everybody's discovering it now, and I don't know how I feel about that. It's very beautiful. It rains there every day. It's lush. You're always close to a beach, 10 minutes max.
Wow.
Always away from a beach. All the beaches in Portland have a river running into them. It's like a fantasy. It's gorgeous.
That is so awesome. Is there a big music scene there?
In Portland or in Jamaica on a whole?
In Portland, where you grew up at.
Man, there's a big music scene in Jamaica everywhere because our culture is based so much on music. So if you mean that there's constant noise pollution and constant music all the time and everybody's into some form of music, that's what it is.
That's cool. That's very cool. I talked to somebody else that was from Jamaica, or they were currently living in Jamaica. I'm from there originally. That was saying that there's like a television channel that has like music on it, right? Like if you make it onto that TV, there's like a station on there that I don't know. I can't remember what she was telling me. Or there's like a big like festival type thing going on. I can't really remember.
I don't know if they're talking about the Sumfest, the reggae festival. But in terms of music channels, there are a couple.
Okay. Did you watch that growing up? Were you influenced by that at all or no?
Did I watch it? Not really. They had music programs. My family is Christian, so
Okay.
I wasn't too allowed to get into too much of the devil's music, even though quote unquote. I still found my way. But I wouldn't say that music channel is so much a part of the music culture per se.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is music everywhere at all times. You know what I mean? And I think that's the most impactful part of the music culture. It's just that there's music. That what that person told you about is just a small percentage of it. Small
percentage. Really. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how did you get into music?
I mean, I've always been doing music since I was born. Was always interested in doing music. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to find out how I got. I'm still trying to examine how I really got into it. So I started playing the recorder. I taught myself from books I found at home.
Oh wow!
And then by the time I went to school, I got into it with my music teacher. Started doing competitions. I wrote poetry. I wrote music, and then I guess it just evolved from there.
Okay. And then when did you start? When did you realize that you could actually, sing and rap and everything?
I mean, I always knew since I was a kid. I just was shy to do it. So I just wrote a lot. I wrote a lot of poetry. I sang on choirs and stuff. Like I wasn't confident enough to step out in front to do it. So I started doing poetry with a full band, and it felt incomplete because there was no melody. to my words yet, and there was no beat, and there was no like, you know, flow to it that did justice to what I really was feeling, until I was like, yo, fuck it, what I gotta lose? Just experimenting with the sound. And I just finally did that, and people liked it. I liked it. It started to feel good now. And yeah, that's how it happened.
What with that, like, when do you remember when you finally got the courage to you know,
do full-blown music? Because when I did poetry, I've been performing. Like I told you, I grew up in church, so I've always been doing stuff, but to have the confidence to perform my own music. So like I told you, I started doing poetry, but I did it like with a full band with harmony singers and all of that stuff. And it was a unique sound, but for me, it felt incomplete because I wasn't getting it out fully like I needed to. I think the first time, like, outside of in school, when I had to write music for exams and stuff, when I wrote my first song was some years ago. I got introduced to this producer in Jamaica called Rory, and he sent me these beats, but he got introduced to me as a poet who did poetry with music. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go out there and it's gonna experiment, and I'm gonna write a song. And then I wrote a song, and it got released. It got premiered on BBC One Extra by David Radigan, and people liked the sound. Just even yesterday, people were telling me that they still play that song in Jamaica and stuff. And I did it, and then I started to kind of experiment more with that sound, like, you know, try to figure out what my sound is and try to master it better. And then before I knew it, a few years after that, Thievery, somebody from Thievery Corporation, Eric Hilton, saw me in Jamaica recording, doing this demo. He liked that sound, and then he sent me a beat, and I did a track to go along with that beat. And then a few months later, I'm on tour with Thievery Corporation. That song became the lead single off their album. We did a video and everything.
Wow. So, what record was it on?
It was on the Temple of I by Thievery Corporation.
Yeah. Whoa, that's so awesome. So you were recording, and one of the members found you?
Yeah, he was in vacation. He was on vacation in Jamaica at this villa with a beautiful studio in my hometown. And he was there with his fiance at the time, and I was in the session. So what they do at the villa is that the studio is like a part of the tourist attraction, right? So they would have people coming to the studio. So I was in the studio recording, felt like I was fucking up, and here come these people walking in, and he's like, oh, I like your sound. And I thought he was bullshitting. I was like, okay, thank you. And then he reached out to my manager at the time and told him that he was interested in recording with me. And they sent me this beat, and I did a demo and sent it back to them. And like a few days later, he was like, okay, we want her to fly to DC to record here. And they flew me there. And then after that, I was back in Jamaica, and he's like, okay, well, we want to do a video for the song that you did. And I'm like, oh, word. So we did the video, and then he was like, okay, well, we want you to come to DC again. We have 3 shows, and we want to see you perform this song live along with the rest of the band. Did that. It was it was so shocking because I've never performed for that many people before. And then after that, nonchalant again. Okay, we want you to go on tour, and this is what we're going to need. We're going to get you the visa. We're going to do a Europe tour, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go there. And I'm like, oh, okay. Word.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's so crazy. Were you a fan of Thievery Corporation, or just you hadn't heard of them?
I didn't know the music fully, but a friend of mine used to play a lot of the stuff, and I liked that the stuff I heard was so heavily impacted by reggae. Yeah. So heavily influenced by reggae. But to say I knew their music prior to that, no. But when I got into it and I started doing the research, I became a part of it. I was like completely blown away by it. And apparently everybody around me knew more about Thievery Corporation than I did, which was embarrassing.
Well, yeah, but it's still, I mean, you got to play with this massive, like, well-known group. Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Well, you were saying that, I'm just curious, the studio that you were recording in, you said it was kind of like a tourist attraction.
So it's at this beautiful exclusive villa in Jamaica called GJAM, right? And
Mhm.
it's got a really nice studio. So that villa in particular attracts a lot of like international artists and um, these types of tourists. Like Beyonce has been there, Solange, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Drake. Um,
Wow.
so they get to vacation and secretly make music in Jamaica. So it has that clientele of the industry people, you know?
Oh, okay. I just found it. So it's called GJAM. It's a hotel,
Yeah,
and there's an actual studio on the hotel's
property.
property.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
They don't even advertise that on their website, which is
it's
interesting.
super exclusive, but it's
Only
there.
a few, yeah, it's there, but they don't tell anyone about it. Wow, that's rad. Like, I was curious. I didn't know if it was like an old, studio that a
No,
bunch
no,
of
no.
people cut
It's a
records in.
dope studio. It's very beautiful. It's got the best view. You're recording and you're overlooking the ocean and you're surrounded by just greenery everywhere. It's gorgeous.
That is so amazing. How cool. Well, from the Thievery Corporation, like what I mean, that must have obviously put you, like, you said, in front of a lot of people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what was it? How long were you with them? And then when did you decide to start putting out your own songs?
Um, so I mean the pandemic intercepted all of this, but I've been touring with them for the past 3.5 years, almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Meanwhile I was doing that, I was working on my record with the little time I got in between because tour was like super hectic. So I'd fly on my days off to LA to work on my record. I've always been a solo artist. They found me as a solo artist. So me doing my own music was always my thing and getting the platform to do it, which Thievery Corporation provided.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, gave me a huge audience and a huge platform. So, I was grateful for that. But I mean, the focus was always to do my own music. So, like I said, I recorded the record that I'm about to put out in the middle of the last tour.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, you talked about the pandemic kind of stopping everything. What were you up to when that all kind of hit, like in March of last year?
I mean, we were on a break from tour because we toured so much the year prior to that. The tour ended, I think, the 23rd of December of that year, and we were on a break trying to regroup and to figure out what the next move would have been. And then the pandemic just intercepted the whole industry, like we know. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I was on the break. At first, I was like really happy to get a chance to just, okay, I have consistent days now. I get to have some sense of normalcy. I get to get into my art and paint and do all of that. And then shit just got weird when it's like, okay, what's next? When is my next show? What am I doing here?
Right. Were you writing, like, when you're where were you quarantined?
I was
Did you go?
quarantined in Phoenix. I was living in Phoenix at the time. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, because I wanted to do this exhibit to go along with my record. I'm still doing it. I'm still working on my pieces. So I was happy that I got a chance to paint. So I spent a lot of my time in quarantine just creating.
Oh, that's good. You said
Yeah.
painting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. What about working on music? Were you working on your record at all then?
Because I had already done recording the record.
The whole thing was finished.
Yeah. Though
Wow.
I just needed to shoot the video. I shot the video for Sacrilege during the quarantine, but the record was already done recording. By the time I got to the end of the tour, the record was done recording. But man, that shit did me in because I'm doing a tour and I'm flying to LA in my spare time, like my 2 or 3 days off to just record nonstop. So I needed the break to rest and the break away from making music, performing and recording and all of that. So I wasn't doing music during the quarantine. I was just like painting, recentering myself, dealing with some personal things about myself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you said that you shot the video for Sacrilege during the pandemic.
Yeah.
How did that? I mean, I saw the video, and you're like in a church, and like, I mean, it's pretty epic. How did you
Thank you.
guys pull that off?
I mean, the script that I wrote for the video, initially I wanted like a congregation and all of that. I wanted to simulate a full church experience, but of course we couldn't do that because of the pandemic. So we had to be very careful, and we had to have a limited crew and limited people in the space, in compliance with the rules of the pandemic. And we made sure everything was secure. It was challenging to get it done, but we did. And I like the challenges because it forces us to be more creative, you know.
Mhm.
And it was dope. We got it done.
Yeah, the video is amazing.
Thank you.
You talked about growing up in a Christian household. Is that kind of what sparked the idea for the video?
I mean, that's some of it. It's growing up in a Christian household. It's growing up Black. It's understanding the impact of Christianity, the role it played in slavery, understanding how the dark history of Christianity has affected us as a people and just the whole world in general. Understanding that like religion is one of the worst things that have ever happened to humanity, and it's like it's not a safe space to ever address it without feeling like you should be put to death because you're blasphemous or it's sacrilegious what you're doing. You know what I mean? Understanding that there's a gag on us and we're not in a safe space to talk about how dark all of this is, how messed up it is, what the damage it has done to us, and the division it has created for us as a people. So it was those things combined that sparked the inspiration to do this song.
Yeah, and on that same trend, your video was like pretty much censored, wasn't it, for a minute? Or at least we weren't able to monetize it.
Man, I wish if they had seen the the full scope of what we wanted to accomplish with that video. I wonder what would have happened. But
it's supposed to get you're supposed to get even more in depth.
We decided to not go too far with it. But I liked what we did with it, Alex and I. But that was expected though. I expected that. I expected some pushback. I mean, it threatens the safety and the comfort of a lot of people. You know, it's almost like a fucked up abusive relationship that it's been happening so long that you're not comfortable in this thing. You know, it's not okay, but you're comfortable because you're scared to step outside of the thing that you've known for so long.
Sure.
To discover something else that's on the other side. And that's what a lot of people are scared of. So I expected some sort of censoring.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bold move. I mean, to put that out, knowing that it might be censored.
I mean, art is supposed to be bold. I don't like to say supposed to be. Art is bold. You know what I mean? And art that's very impactful and revolutionize things and makes differences in the world. They're bold.
You're right. That's right on the head there. I've got a question. Prior to Thievery Corporation kind of finding you and putting you on tour with them, were you playing out quite a bit in Jamaica? Like, did you have like a record? You were in the studio, so were you putting out records there prior to moving to the
now? So in Jamaica, I was just doing a bunch of like underground shows with my poetry band and stuff. And then when I started experimenting with the music, now, like I told you, I put out that song with Rory. It opened the door a little bit more in terms of the music industry in Jamaica. So I started putting out a little bit more music, but I was very cautious what I was putting out because I was still working on my sound, like I told you. So it was in that process of working on my sound, experimenting with stuff, experimenting with different people, that I got discovered by Thievery Corporation. By then, I'd already put out like only 3 songs.
Oh, okay. So you had 3 songs out prior to them finding you. Okay. With that like, so you hadn't. I was going to ask you if you had played outside of Jamaica, but was that your first trip out of the country?
No, for sure not. But that wasn't like my first trip either to perform outside of the country. I did this, but I mean, it was, to me, it's one of the coolest experiences of my life. So I have these friends who's got this Shaolin temple in New York, right? It's so fucking cool. Like legitimate monks. They're the nicest people I've ever met. But they do this poetry event there every year. So they reached out to me and invited me to perform in the temple, and I did it a couple times.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Was that a big moment? I mean, I'm sure it was. Going to New York and being able to perform music there.
Oh, for sure. It was dope. It was really cool. It was nice to see different culture reacting to the content of what I was saying and relating to some of it. My favorite lyric in a song that I've ever written is called Parallel Universes in the Same Old Hemisphere. So, and the more experiences I have with sharing my art and traveling and connecting with people, I see that we're from different scope of society, different parts of the world, but there's always something that makes us connect, be good or bad, where we find common ground and connect as human beings. You know what I mean? And to me, that's beautiful. And music to me and art is just the only thing on this planet that I think brings people together in a way that give us some semblance of utopia. And that's dope.
That is dope. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Well, so you had played here in the States in New York, and then have you done any shows as a solo artist, after you were linked up with Thievery Corporation, or were you pretty much
the
doing
pandemic done fucked that up?
Yeah. Okay.
But after the dust settle with this thing, if it does, I'll for sure be doing that. But no, I haven't. Like I told you, I spent the last 3.5 years traveling all around the world with Thievery, so I didn't have much time to get it out there like that. I barely managed to put the record together because of how much time we were spending touring, which was dope. But everything was supposed to have come together in 2020.
Right. So you said the record's complete. So Sacrilege going to be part of the new album?
Sacrilege is definitely a part of the new album. The new album is called Ignorant. We're waiting to figure out what's going on. We're ready for release. We're ready to shoot the next single, and we're just waiting right now.
You're just waiting. It's done. It's in the bag, and you're just hanging out.
Done. Everything's done. Yeah. Okay.
Well, talk about the next single. What's the vibe on it, and is the video going to be as in your face?
Okay. Are you there?
Yeah, did you hear me? Oh, okay.
I thought we got disconnected. Sorry.
No worries.
So the next single is gonna be called Queen, and it's a song that it's a song that encourages women and empowers women, and not just one side of or femininity, all of it. I'm the queen, I'm a bad bitch, I'm a goddess, I'm all of that. It's a song that I want every kind of woman to be able to connect to and relate to. It's a song that I want every woman hearing it to feel empowered and strong like they are. And it's just a vibe for women, basically.
I love that. And a video to accompany it?
We're in the process of deciding how to work around that idea with this pandemic again.
Sure. Do you have a concept for it and everything ready?
Yeah, we do. We're just waiting to figure out. We're shooting it soon, I hear from my manager. We're just waiting to figure out what days are best and how to get around with the pandemic, because it's really bad right now in LA.
Yeah, we're in San Diego, so we're feeling it. especially
It's
with
horrible.
that new strain that's here.
Oh my God.
It started here in San Diego. I guess it's the first case in the States was here. So
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
fun times.
I know.
Oh my. Well, is the video this? You obviously know the theme and how it's gonna go. Do you feel like it's gonna get censored again?
This one probably not, but others in the future for sure.
Okay, you already know that. You already know the future ones will be censored. I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Racquel, I really appreciate talking with you. You talking with me today.
No
And
problem. It was
yeah,
fun.
I do have one more question for you before I let you go. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah, sure. Be brave, be fearless, and be true to who you are. Make sure your art means something. Make sure your art will outlive you.